The majority of people you know probably look pretty normal, and we all have that something unique about us that makes us different from each other, but nothing really out of the ordinary. There are, however, some people who are incredibly unique and look so bizarre that you might not believe they are real. From things people are born with to some things people do to themselves either purposely or by accident. Join us as we take a look at 10 insanely unbelievable people that really exist. Sadhu Amar Bharati. This is the true story of an Indian man who has kept his right arm raised for 43 years. It is unimaginable that anyone could keep their arm raised in the air for such a long time, but this is exactly what Sadhu Amar has done while devoting himself to the god Shiva. His devoted worship has garnered him much attention from around the world. Amar was your typical man living a fairly normal life with 3 children and a wife. But soon after he realized this was not the life for him, and he started wandering the streets dressed in simple sadhu clothing. Amar then raised his right arm up and never took it down. And now for 43 years it has remained in the same place. The nails on his fingers have grown so long that they are black and curled. The arm itself has become atrophied and Amar is unable to use it anymore. It has become a symbol of his faith to Shiva and his beliefs. Dmitry Khaladzhi is a Ukrainian sportsman and a master of sport in the international class. In 2009, he became a champion in the first championship of the Ukrainian Federation of Powerlifting. He holds an unbelievable 63 Guinness Book of Records, and in 2004 was named the strongest man on the planet. At the age of 9, Dmitry was at a performance of a famous athlete by the name of Yuri Artemov. The superhuman abilities that he saw from Yuri made a very strong impression on him. Since that time, Dmitry and power sports have become inseparable. In 2005, Dmitry broke a record made by a famous ancient Greek weightlifter named Bybon, who lifted a block of red sandstone weighing 143.5 kilograms, which was found at Olympia. Dmitry lifted with one hand a stone weighing 152 kilograms. Khaladzhi performed the lift and amazingly held the stone with one little finger. He has done the Devil's Forge, where he was laid on nails, and on top of him placed 3 concrete plates weighing 700 kilograms, which were then smashed with sledgehammers. He also picked up a meter of pipe weighing 1,022 kilograms from a half-squat position and held it for 12.5 seconds. But that's not all. A horse should carry a person, right? Not Dmitry. He picked up a horse. And he isn't just picking it up and holding it. That would be far too easy for Dmitry. Instead, he gives the horse a ride on his back and starts walking through the field with it. Karen Overhill, not her real name, was 29 years old when she visited a psychiatrist in Chicago where she lived. Now, you might be wondering what was going on. It was determined that because of the heavy abuse by her father and her now equally abusive husband, her brain created 17 different personalities to cope with the abuse. You heard that right, 17 different personalities, each with different ages, different people, and men and women. She complained that she was losing time and couldn't remember big parts of her days. At first, doctors thought she was suffering from depression, and she was also suffering chronic pain from having a C-section giving birth to her daughter. She was also married to an abusive husband and had an abusive father. She decided to seek help from a psychiatrist after experiencing 2 particularly terrifying experiences. On one of the occasions, she had woken up with a knife under her pillow, but had no memory of how it got there. In another, she went to a Las Vegas casino with $25 and ended up with $2,500, but couldn't remember how she got the money. The first sign there was a personality disorder was when the doctor received a letter from one of her personalities, which was a 7-year-old child asking for help. Eskil Ronensbakken. This extreme artist is from Norway and does balancing acts all over the world. As a young boy, he was always energetic and practiced balancing each chance he got. His ultimate balancing act is traveling upside down on a bicycle 1,000 meters above an icy Norwegian fjord, with nothing but a weight dangling below him for stability, and naked save for a skin-colored thong. Eskil enjoys nothing more than precariously perching on the edge of a cliff top or walking on a tightrope between 2 hot air balloons. The now 38-year-old without a fear of heights describes himself as an educated balancing performer and has been honing his death-defying skills since the age of 5 with circus troupes around the globe. He has also done tricks like riding a bicycle backwards down a dangerous mountain at high speed and he has what he calls the most spectacular one-arm handstand ever. Many people say he's crazy. What do you think? Hiroo Onoda was an Imperial Japanese Army officer who remained at his jungle post on an island in the Philippines for 29 years, refusing to believe that World War II was over. Caught in a time warp, Mr. Onoda, a second lieutenant, was one of the war's last holdouts, a soldier who believed that the emperor was a deity and the war was a sacred mission, who survived on bananas and coconuts and sometimes killed villagers he assumed were enemies. Just imagine walking through the jungle if you were living in the Philippines and running into a Japanese soldier who thinks that World War II is still on. Japanese history and literature are replete with heroes who have remained loyal to a cause, especially if it is lost or hopeless. And Lieutenant Onoda, a small wiry man of dignified manner and military bearing, seemed to many like a samurai of old, ultimately offering his sword as a gesture of surrender to President Ferdinand E. Marcos of the Philippines, who returned it to him. Onoda returned to a hero's welcome in the all-but recognizable Japan of 1974, and he died in 2014 at the age of 91. Amu Haji. This one is a real stinker. Pardon the pun. Amu Haji is an Iranian that is known as the world's dirtiest man and has not showered or cleaned himself for over 60 years. He lives in isolation in Deshgah village in the southern Iranian province of Fars. You can't really see his eyes, his skin is scaly and he smells pretty rough, but he argues he's making the better life choice. He believes his good health is a result of him not bathing. Haji knows that he is covered in a thick layer of dirt, but he really doesn't mind in the slightest. He used to live a normal life in his village with his family until he began to believe that keeping clean was ruining his health. That was when he made the serious decision to leave his family and his village to embrace a filthier way of living in the pursuit of living a healthier lifestyle. He feasts daily on carrion, the rotting remains of animals that have been killed by cars or have died of natural causes, and he smokes cigarettes given to him by passers-by. When he runs out of cigarettes, he smokes dried animal feces from his pipe. Lu Hao. For a time, a Chinese youngster named Lu Hao was one of the most photographed children in the world because he was billed as the fattest boy in the world. In March of 2011, he was a 3-year-old and weighed 132 pounds, the equivalent of 5 normal weight children his age. Because of the danger he might pose to others, Lu Hao couldn't be enrolled in nursery school, so his parents were stuck with him full-time. Weirdly, his birth rate was skimpy at a mere 5.7 pounds. At around 3 months, he inexplicably began to expand, and nobody knew why. He is getting so big, his family are frightened of him and have given up trying to stop the youngster from gorging on huge plates of ribs and rice. His parents claim he throws vicious tantrums if he doesn't get 3rd or 4th helpings of dinner. Liu Qiang. Pupilla duplex is said to be a rare condition in which a person has 2 irises and 2 pupils in one eye. But is this condition real or simply a myth? Liu Qiang is a man often cited as an example of a person with pupilla duplex. A wax statue of Liu Qiang still exists in Ripley's museum, and the statue with the strange eyes with 2 pupils contains the following caption: "Believe it or not, Liu Qiang was born with double pupils in each eye." Despite his abnormality, he became governor of Shanxi, China, and Minister of State in 995 AD. Later, through an affair with the Dowager Empress, he had his son proclaimed heir apparent of all China. Although Liu Qiang's condition is extremely rare, other 4-eyed men have been recorded by medical science. In 1931, Robert Ripley personally met a double-eyed man named Henry Hahn living in Mills, Kentucky. The man with the biggest mouth in the world would be none other than 29-year-old Francisco Domingo Joaquim, also known as the Angolan Jaw of Awe. Francisco participated in the Italian competition known as Big Mouth, where contestants literally put their jaws to the test. They put all kinds of strange things in their mouth, including saucers, coffee cups, bottles, but none could beat Chiquinho's Coke can stunt. Francisco Domingo Joaquim easily won the contest, and thanks to his rubbery 16.99 centimeter wide mouth, he also became the man with the world's largest mouth, according to the Guinness Book of Records. Even more amazing is the fact that despite putting a Coke can in his mouth every day and having never been to a dentist, his teeth are perfectly healthy. Paul Carrison. had an incredibly rare condition where his skin turned blue after self-medicating for a skin condition. Karasin shot to internet fame several years ago for the blue color of his skin, which was a side effect using a silver compound for more than a decade to treat a bad case of dermatitis on his face. His skin coloring earned him the nickname Papa Smurf, which his estranged widow said he welcomed when it came from kids, but really hated it when it came from an adult. Silver has antibacterial properties and has been used to fight infection for thousands of years, but it went out of use when penicillin, which is far more effective, was developed. It continued to be used in some over-the-counter medicines until 1999, when the FDA banned it because it causes argyria, which is a result of the silver reacting with light the same way it does in photography. The blue comes from the silver that collects in the skin and other organs and does not dissipate. Sadly, Paul had a heart attack and suffered a massive stroke in 2013 and did not recover.